Hey guys, we're going to be taking a look at the performance of beach buggy racing on the Nexus 5 here. It's a new game released a few days ago. It is the sequel to the very fun Beach Buggy Blitz that was personally one of my favourite games. It's free and yeah, it's just a very fun game to play. I'm using the stock kernel here, so performance should be pretty much on point with the stock Nexus 5. I've got the FPS meter running in the top right hand corner, so yeah, let's go ahead and check it out. So firstly, we'll head over to the graphics settings and see what's going on. You can see the resolution by default is set to under half on the Nexus 5. In the advanced settings, most of it is on except color correction, and the shader complexity is set to medium instead of high. We're just going to leave them all on the defaults for now and see how it runs. So here we go. Now straight off the start line, when most cars are on screen, you'll notice the FPS drops a little to around 44. That could be down to either loading or just the amount of car physics. That really does only last for about a second though. After that, it jumps back up to 55 to 60 FPS and it just feels buttery smooth. Even when I was flying through the air thanks to that other guy crashing into me, the performance was still very good. And I have no idea why I suddenly just got big wheels there. I'm guessing somebody hit me with something, but you can see some of the water effects there as well. Again, checking out that FPS, it didn't dip below the 50s, so I didn't notice while I was playing any kind of slowdown or anything like that. So on the default settings for the Nexus 5, and I'm not sure if these are specifically for the Nexus 5 or if they're just kind of, you know, the default settings for the game in general on Android, but on these settings at least, the Nexus 5 is having absolutely no troubles as you would expect. The FPS meter is telling the same story. We're averaging 57 frames per second, the maximum is 60 and the minimum is 44, so absolutely no problems here whatsoever. So this time we're going to run the game on basically its maximum settings. The resolution is maxed out, and we've also changed the shader complexity to high, and we've put the shadow detail to absolute maximum. You can see if I toggle that, it does make a difference. You can see the shadows in the background, they've got a little bit more detail. The color correction I decided to leave off because honestly I didn't see much of a difference when I had it toggled, so that's the reason for that. Let's go ahead and check it out. So straight from the get-go, you'll notice the frames per second have definitely taken a hit with these settings. The start line dipped to around 26 frames per second, whereas before we were around the 40s. And after that initial start, it goes up to around 30 to the 40 mark, whereas previous settings we were pretty much locked at around the 50 to 60 mark. So there's definitely a significant decrease in the FPS, as you would expect from running the game at full resolution and full detail. The game does look great though. It's sharper and just there's that little bit more polish to the graphics, but there's no denying you can definitely feel the difference in the performance, and personally I think I'd prefer dropping the settings a little and having the smoother frame rate, especially for this type of game. Now, it's by no means a slideshow or horrible or anything like that, but for this type of game where it's just fast-paced and reactive controls, I do think the higher frame rate makes the difference. Don't forget, you can go back to those graphical options and tweak the settings a little bit more. Maybe you don't have to run it at full resolution, or maybe you can change those shader settings a little bit, and that's actually what I've done right here. I took the resolution down a bit, and I've also taken down the shadow details just a little bit as well. And there's definitely an increase in performance, and the game still looks better than it did on the default settings, although I just want to say that the game doesn't look bad on the default settings at all. It just doesn't quite have that graphical polish that you get on the higher settings. But if you check out the performance here, we're definitely a lot more in the 40s, whereas before we were kind of in the 30s a lot more often. So you can definitely strike a balance between the graphics and the performance depending on your device. But yeah guys, this game is just a lot of fun to play, so definitely give it a shot. It's free. It also has Google Play Games integration, so you can play your friends or you can check out the leaderboards. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Peace out.